This is a Kiss original on 101.9 Kiss FM. The geekdom is spreading. It is present at almost every turn. And it's only a matter of time before it comes for you.
I think in our solar system can help us.
Let the Geek Patrol be your guide as you delve into the worlds of science, gaming, and pop culture. This is Geek Tank Radio.
Hey everybody, we are the Geek Patrol and our microphones are broken.
Yes,
they barely ever work. We're just going to tell you that straight off the bat. You know, we are Joe-less again this week.
I know.
But I think it's because he's too scared to come out of the house because it's Friday the 13th. Speaking of which, this episode of Geek Tank Radio is brought to you by Camp Crystal Lake Reform Clinic. You got teenagers that are giving you issues? Send them to Camp Crystal Lake Reform Clinic. If they don't shape up, they won't come back. Anyways, yes.
It's painfully accurate.
Hey, it's the greatest sponsor we've ever had. Yeah.
Well, look at this way. You get to work on your cardio.
Yeah. Lots of running.
Yeah, it's true. Ineffectual running.
And navigating, because you got to learn not to run into trees.
Right. Or
Not
the,
that it
or the
matters.
wrong cabin. Or to the car that you think should be running, but won't for some reason.
It don't matter. You're going to trip.
So my special class for the older campers on persistent shuffling will be taking place at the same time.
Oh, no.
We usually do it at night.
No,
so it's cooler.
you're going to be teaching the Prophet of Doom class.
Well, that is true.
Teaching people exactly where they need to put the emphasis on it's got a death curse. Anyways, guys, this season on Geek Tank Radio, Alan's going to tell us all about synthetic DNA. Andy's going to lead us through our favorite video games. And, well, let's just be honest. We're going to talk about the Joker again. Because,
it
this
won't
time
go away.
we'll have Brodee. All that and more coming up on this season of Geek Tank Radio.
Geek Tank Radio. More below. And on 1019kissfm.com. Keyword Geek Tank. No matter what nefarious plan he has cooked up, Alan always keeps it educational. Get banished to Professor Gilbreth's Science Corner.
We've been following all these wonderful stories about CRISPR and genes and all these fun things.
Yeah. But I've come to the conclusion if you eat too many crisps, you're not going to fit in your jeans.
Well, that's it depends upon how those crisps are made and by what and by who.
Yeah.
Well, GMO is starting to wander into a few things. Got a couple of new companies out there. And one story I've been following in particular hasn't been so much CRISPR and the gene editing.
Okay.
But I've been following true synthetic DNA. It never existed before.
It's like jumbo shrimp, right? True synthetic.
Yes, truly synthetic, aka not derived from any pre-existing organism.
Okay.
So, and let's take a look at who's putting money into it.
All right.
Like the DOD or Bill Gates or
Windows DNA.
Yeah.
It'll reboot and you'll constantly have to update it.
You're shut down for a few hours.
I really hate the latest update to Windows 10.
Yeah?
It made everything slow.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I guess that's what happens when you get older. You get slow.
Yeah, you get slower.
Well, you kind of got me on that. I was kind of going, you get a little slower. Well, pretty much everybody has been looking at the whole DNA thing, right?
Okay, yeah.
So here we have a company called Ginkgo, and it's made up of a bunch of MITs. Good old MIT produces a whole crop of them.
Yeah, but it's never good to put more than one of those guys on any project because then supervillainy appears.
Well, there's a pile of them all in one place.
Yeah.
See, all I'm thinking in my head is like exactly that comic book supervillainy. Yeah. Like synthetic DNA, they can make
Brotherhood of Evil Mutants?
Yeah, exactly. They can make whatever they want. They can make whatever they want. I'm glad you said that. No. Please God, no.
Yeah, well, they basically have patterned their company after a plant that's really hard to kill. The ginkgo was like...
Is it called kudzu?
No, it's called ginkgo.
Ginkgo.
Yeah. So ginkgos were the first things to grow back after like a nuclear blast. So yeah.
Okay.
So here we go.
I
They
haven't
really
been
like
witness to
plants.
those.
They like their quote from their company is that plants can self-repair, self-replicate, and they're totally renewable. That's what we want to do with basically genes.
And then when you start messing with those plants too much, you get the happening.
We get so
Not the events that occur in the film, The Happening, just the movie.
Right.
well,
right.
let's-
Because that was written by a tree.
So let's
It's gonna be one of those days.
yes, it is. I'm looking at her and going, oh, where does it go get rolling here? So picture, if you will, crops like corn, wheat, rice that take a lot of fertilizer.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, what if we were to make a few minor adjustments and have them, make their own fertilizer?
Okay.
So poop potatoes would be.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of
They
going,
would grow from potato poop.
They would, and what it would do is eliminate chemical fertilizers.
Okay.
Or at least
Yeah.
cut way back on the usage. So healthier, less disruptive, less tearing things up.
Okay.
Or let's take a vanity product.
Okay.
Let's take one of the most popular smells in the world, the rose.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it takes a whole lot of roses to make a little bitty bit of rose oil.
Okay.
So why not take the rose oil production capability of that and, I don't know, make yeast do it?
Okay. Which is an extremely, easily grown.
Exactly. Something that you can keep tanks of this stuff going in a very small area. And in this particular case, produce a whole lot of rose oil, and it is a very consistent product. And cost drastically less than traditional rose oil.
Okay.
This is a main product of ginkgo, by the way, and of Robote perfume. Francis Robote is a ginkgo partner in making the rose oil for their perfumes
From yeast.
from yeast.
Okay.
How about let's take that same yeast, and if we don't want rose oil, we want a sweetener. So instead of all those stevia leaves and all that kind of stuff, why not just have our little microbial friends make the sweetener for you? Y'all are just kind of looking at me like, y'all have the Joe look. You're waiting. You're waiting on the next thing
I'm waiting
here.
for the shoe to drop.
All right. Well, it took them, and I love the story behind this company. It took them like 10 years to finally get to everybody's attention. It's of a bunch of PhDs from MIT, like I said. There's like Jason Kelly and Barry Canton and Austin Chi, all there working with the professors. And they decided that if they really wanted to keep going with this biology, what they need to do is just launch their own company. So they just wanted to see basically how far could they take this.
Okay.
See, that is always how much science fiction do we watch, and how many times is the downfall of humanity a time when a scientist just goes, I wonder how far we can take this?
Well, here's the best part. Here's the best part. In the very early days, of course, you don't have a track record.
Right.
So you're not really attracting, the megalithic money and the partners and that kind of stuff.
Right, the
so
big
you
investors, yeah.
You do governmental research grants.
Sure.
So there's not a whole lot of money and all that. But apparently, one of these MITs has got a family member with some wholesale background.
Okay.
Because what they began doing was kind of stalking other biotech companies that were in financial trouble. And when they would go under, they would go in, like the auction.
Yeah.
And for 10 cents on the dollar, buy that new centrifuge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or buy those new freezers or buy those new vats or whatever. So they were talking about their very first lab. They actually outfitted the whole thing for about $150,000.
Wow.
So this is like, that's
I mean,
like,
in genetic research, that's insane.
that's like 100 times below cost.
Yeah.
So already I like this company because it's kind of like, all right, you guys are watching your bottom line. You're being careful. You're looking for products that people want to buy. So here they go. Now, this is where we're going to have a little fun. They started raising a little money and started getting money invested in them of when they were first ones to actually begin using certain types of synthetic accelerators to tie the genetic structures together. Now, what's happened is everybody from the DOD to Bill Gates's investment firm are now putting an awful lot of money in this company. So they got, as they put it, they have real people, real investors, and people are really starting to value what they do. So, you know,
I'm sorry if that's the exact quote from them.
Yes.
It sounds like they've got Trump's speechwriter.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, wait, he has a speechwriter?
God, I don't know.
So we need a new special fuel for the rocket ships we want to build.
Right.
Well, let's get a microbe to produce that stuff. Let's grow a plant that can, you can read by it a lamp, as a lamp. It's synthetic. It's completely DNA. It's completely new.
It's bioluminescent, but in the open air?
It could be.
That's okay. Okay.
You all right, Andy?
Okay.
I love just the stunned kind of, wow, this is a little big. It is. This is huge. This is
again.
huge.
There's so much potential for supervillainy here that,
True.
like, it's blowing my
I'm not
mind.
gonna go
that these guys were like, yeah, let's try this.
Well, since you keep going to since you keep looking into supervillainy, why don't we next time we get together, let's talk about our favorite video games.
Geek Tank Radio energized by
Dark Oak Press and Media, an indie publisher and media provider offering everything from Alice in Memphis to mystery to young adult and everything in between. Get the latest at darkoakpress.com.
More Below and on 1019kissfm.com. Keyword Geek Tank. Gadgets,
Gizmos,
games.
oh my.
These guys got their hands on it in the tank. Geek Tank Radio is on.
So, fellas, a couple days ago was National Video Game Appreciation Day.
I appreciated it.
We got a very heartwarming tweet from Xbox to the rest of the developers or the publishers. Mm-hmm. That was really nice. But I figured that we often in gaming news we kind of find something to, that gaming's not always our most positive.
For you
segment.
to bitch about you, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. Read between the lines.
Yeah.
So I figured that today,
we're
obviously we're a
computer.
couple days late, but I figured that today for National Video Game Appreciation Day, we could talk about our favorite video games, whether that be a given series or a particular standalone title.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do this.
So I'll go first.
Okay.
I've played a lot of games in my life. I have a lot that are very near and dear to my heart. I have a lot that are not as well appreciated by others that I like myself. But my favorite video game series to this day is still the Mass Effect series.
I mean,
even the last one.
I mean,
even 3. I mean, even Andromeda.
It's you're not wrong. Mass Effect in and of itself, even if you didn't like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ending to 3.
Yeah, the adventure, from the get
Through 3. The game itself stands
Yes.
with it.
I've recently gone back through and played it again.
This
and
surprises me.
It does?
Yeah, a little bit.
Why?
I don't know. I pegged you as a Final Fantasy guy.
I do have my Final Fantasies. I like 7 through 10 are my big favorites.
Yeah.
But no,
he's got too much love for 8. We cannot let him run gaming anymore. No, I'm kidding.
But the reason that I loved Mass Effect so much was because I've never been so emotionally affected by a video game series before I played that one.
Oh.
There is it's so weird to me, but there is a particular piece of DLC from Mass Effect 2. It's called Overlord.
Right.
Where your party is sent to this planet, and the company that was there was trying to meld a human brain, Alan, with a virtual intelligence, not an AI,
Right.
but a VI. So it's not fully self-aware.
There is no, yeah.
And they're trying to put a human brain into that so they can kind of control these machines.
Sure.
And the only brain that can speak the mathematical language of the synthetic creatures is an autistic savant. So they put this guy into this machine, and the story is the VI is going crazy, and it started like attacking people and all this other stuff.
Right.
But as you get further into the story, when you get to the core of the room where the guy's being held, you find that because the AI's been screaming at you the whole time as you're running around this planet. When you get into the room, you find that he's like full on Clockwork Oranged into this machine thing.
Yeah.
He's got the forks in his eyes and stuff.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Tears leaking out of his face. And you finally hear clearly what he's been saying the whole time, which has been nothing but please make it stop.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. And what makes it worse is that he was the director of the project's younger brother.
Right.
And that guy comes running in at that moment, and he's like, please don't do anything. And you turn on this dude and are just like, what?
That's kind of like
Mass
how...
Effect gives you options, right? So you can turn on this dude and just shoot him in the face.
Right.
Or you can turn on him and punch him out and be like, what have you done?
Right. That's kind of like how Wolfenstein kind of 3D went, where the guy you save ends up being a spoiler. By the way, ends up being like part of the
machine
mech,
and
right.
Yeah,
he's like the machine man or whatever they call him. And you have to like kill him later, and
the whole time like he can't control his actions. He's begging you to stop him.
to like
that kind
stop
of thing.
him and like kill him. He's like, please put an end to me. I don't want to do this
I don't want to live
anymore.
this way and stuff. But yeah, the first time I played that, I was openly weeping.
A little shook there, huh?
Like I had to put the controller down and step away from the game for a minute. I was just like, oh my God, wow.
Brandon, what's yours, man?
Oh, dude, do you really have to ask?
I don't know. I think I have you pegged, but I thought I had Andy pegged over here.
I know what his is.
What's mine, Andy?
Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely.
Is it Mortal Kombat? I was going to say Mortal Kombat. I won.
I've been playing this game since the first one hit the arcades. I mean, I took place in little mini tournaments here in Memphis, up at the Mall of Memphis. It's like, coming in second during that some of those things. I don't know how many quarters I pumped into those machines.
Right.
And I'm not a fighting guy.
NetherRealm is still standing because Brandon put too many quarters
I am not,
in an MK box.
I mean, you can. Andy can tell you, it's like, you bring a normal fighting game into me, I'm like, meh, I don't care.
Yeah.
Take that away. But
is it the storyline?
There is a mythology that runs through this, series.
Yeah.
That just when you think that you're at the end, they find a way to bring you all the way back and give you something you never expected before.
Do you kind of feel like, though, and I know MK11 is like really good. Okay, I'm not discounting it really, but the time travel thing, I'm out, man. It's like, all right.
It's not actually time travel.
Yeah,
it is and it isn't.
No, it isn't
really not.
in any shape, form, or fashion. What happens is the person who is in charge of that melds everything together.
Right.
It's not like like it's not like Liu Kang goes back to the past in order to make sure the horrible things that happened to turn him into a revenant. No. All of a sudden, the past Liu Kang finds himself in a brand new world,
right?
That also incorporates that old Liu Kang, who's
become
now
a
revenant.
Yeah, it just writes all the.
But it makes it a little bit more like, because there's a god of time. Like,
it doesn't rewrite history or anything, except for the fact that Kronika can, at will, rewrite everything, but she doesn't. She keeps certain things the same way.
I see.
And I mean, one of the greatest things, especially about 11, is that when you're running through story mode, is you get the Raiden's like, Masters Kuai Lang and Hanzo Hasashi are infiltrating the cyber initiative, and most people who don't know anything about it go, "Who are those guys?"
Right.
But if you've been playing, you're like, okay, we're fixing to see Scorpion and Sub-Zero. This is awesome.
Right.
And you see them as old men.
Right.
They've been there since the beginning.
Right.
Scorpion's no longer cursed. Subby has grown old, and I mean, they even mock each other. They are very much Walter Matthau and Jack Clement.
They're the odd couple.
It's completely, in this, it's more like grumpy old men.
Yeah.
But,
right.
And it's great because, like Scorpion's coming up behind Sub-Zero, and he makes a comment about how, he's gotten old because he was able to sneak up. He's like, I was coming.
Right, yeah.
But it's just, and they do, while a lot of people will sit there and go, DC versus Mortal Kombat never had. No. Mortal Kombat storyline has proven it happened.
Right.
That crossover everything, and it's just, it incorporates so much.
And the thing is that Mortal Kombat has the best storyline of any fighting game.
I would agree with you there. I would totally agree with you
on the market.
Yeah, and the fact is it has a story and not just.
Why do you think the movies don't stand up then?
What are you talking about?
I was going to say,
Mortal Kombat 1 is a great
the first
movie.
Mortal Kombat movie does. The second movie, and you can go and watch the documentaries about this. They cut the budget. They got rid of 90% of the writers.
Right.
They made the DP from the first one the director. Right. Now a lot of people are going, well, doesn't he run? No, it's not the same.
Right.
And this guy didn't know what the hell he was doing.
I'm not arguing with you because I really like those movies. I was just putting it out.
No. I will say you.
Don't throw the dagger at me. Okay.
Annihilation is complete and utter, horse crap.
Right.
I mean, it just is.
Right.
Mortal Kombat, the Conquest TV series that came on after Monday Night Nitro.
Right.
It was fun for what it was. It was
right.
it was an hour-long show before you got the repeat of Nitro.
Right.
But it really wasn't that good.
Right.
What is
I remember watching that,
What is it? Mortal Kombat Legacies that they did? Those are awesome.
Yeah, those little shorts.
They did not get the
where
credit
they tried to
deserve.
Batman Begins. Mortal Kombat,
right?
Like you remember how Baraka was like a doctor or something, who then shoved
so much
freaking blades into his arms.
Kano funded Cyrex and Sector.
Yeah,
I mean it was great.
I liked that iteration of Baraka better when he was like a doctor and he was like basically modifying himself.
Yeah, I prefer the Tarkatans because if you want modification, you can play Street Fighter.
Yeah,
that's true.
or what was the X-Men fighting game?
X-Men
Garbage?
It was like Children of the Atom or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was so
Children
bad.
of the Corn meets whatever.
No.
Now that's not to say that Mortal Kombat doesn't have games that just, I'm like going, no, I won't play that one again.
Shaolin Monks.
Genesis.
Shaolin Monks doesn't bother me nearly as much as Armageddon.
Armageddon, that's
where they decided to take away fatalities and make you create combos.
The created fatality where you just hit them 10 different ways.
Such garbage.
Yeah.
And plus, they brought Movado back in that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Give us Cabal. We love Cabal. Which we have Cabal now.
I would agree with you. And while we're talking about this, there's like 4 different titles that are going through my head right now. Because I had one.
It's hard to pick, right?
It really is hard to pick. I loved Last of Us. I thought
that's a great game.
It's a great game. But it's not like my...
I'm really excited for 2 if it ever comes out.
Yeah, well, see,
Stop
that's the
pushing
problem.
it back.
That's the problem with Last of Us that I have, okay? But you guys had me pegged before we started this.
Yeah, we knew exactly where you were going.
And it's not Assassin's Creed. No. Everybody who's close to me is like, bro, you still have all the games. Like, I go back and play it.
Yeah.
Okay, I love Assassin's Creed. I love that mythos and everything. But the mythos that I love more,
GOW
is God of War.
I gotta have my God of War, especially this last title that came out.
Yeah.
It really, really, really hit home.
Well, I mean, this is one of those games where it's like, if you could get away with just putting your controller down and watching it, it keeps you enthralled.
Oh, I totally would. Well, and see, I think that's why I think my whole household loves God of War.
It's because they can sit there and watch you
They
play.
watch the movie and they're like not bored with me playing it.
Yeah.
They're like, aren't you gonna continue? And I'm like, I'm tired. And they're like, no, keep going.
You gotta beat this next guy.
Right. And it's like, okay, kids, time to leave the room while we get to the next part. You know. So I think that's like the God of War series has evolved so well. And shout out to Cory Barlog for evolving the.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What they did really smartly was grow the character as the players grew. And
obviously the growing pains were there.
Yeah.
Okay. Through Chains of Olympus, and they were what they were.
They were what they were, but at the same time, and this is one thing. Just knowing you, and we brought it up off the air, and when you were trying to decide what your title was going to be, and I was like, well, you got to go with God of War because it's never disappointed you in the ways that Assassin's Creed has.
Yeah, ever. And I got let down, I think, 3 titles now with Assassin's Creed that I've just been beat, and I think now I didn't even buy the last one.
What, Odyssey?
No, was it Odyssey? Yeah,
Odyssey was the last
well,
one,
because Odyssey was really just a reskinned Origins.
I played it.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy it, and it was just such that big of a letdown.
And that's been my argument with annual titles like Assassin's Creed every year is that Origins, they really did retool and make it into more of an action RPG than what it was before. But at this point now, because like this year we're getting Assassin's Creed like Kingdom or something, but weirdly it's focusing on Vikings.
Yeah, I see, and I don't understand. Like, okay, you had a mythos, you had a storyline, you had a great little protagonist and antagonist there with the Animus and the Animus Project and things like that, and Desmond. And then you kill him off. Yeah. And you killed your series, you know, and it didn't make sense now. It doesn't make sense now.
I mean, and I know that, and you know, we'll discuss this 100,000 times over in the next few weeks because I'm sure there'll be loot crate problems and DLC that costs way too much and all that. Yeah. But one of the biggest problems is that Assassin's Creed became about the dollar.
Yeah.
There was no more art. One thing that's always been there with God of War, even in the less than exciting titles, is it's always been a masterpiece.
And they've always been just making like a fun game.
Yeah. Well, even those 2 cash grabs. Okay, Chains of Olympus and
Ghost of Sparta. Yeah.
It felt like a cash grab, and while you did get a little bit more story arc, you got a little bit more backstory of Kratos, and like he's got a brother, and going through all that, which was weird.
They felt more, instead of just your typical, we're going to get a bunch of money out of this. Well, yeah, it was a cash grab. It felt like we're going to give you a little more story while we're working on something big for you.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It was like the staples in the series: 1, 2, 3, and then
the new one,
or whatever it is, 4. For lack of better terms, 4.
Gal Mark 2.
Yeah. It those staples are such a beautiful arc of a story.
Yes.
And now it feels like a brand new storyline.
Yeah.
It feels like I have never played this, and the other thing too is if you've never played it, you can jump right in and go, this is a really complex character. I need to go back and play 1, 2, 3.
Well, it's almost like the supplemental material for Star Wars. Like if you've never watched Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that, you can still watch the saga and go, this is really great. But then if you watch the supplemental stuff, like you watch Rogue One or whatever, you can go, oh, this is way better.
Right.
It's like now not only was this great, but now I know why it was great.
Right.
You know.
Anyway, I'm a God of War fan. Anyway, are we going to go classic, Alan?
Well, before we launch over to Alan,
we want to talk about how horrible Fallout is.
I have to give. We're not talking 76. That's not. It doesn't.
I'm talking in general. I don't like any of Fallout.
Okay.
4 was okay.
No.
I have to give one small shout out to another game that came out in 2018, and that is Spider-Man.
Oh well, yeah. But it's not a series.
It's not a series yet. But that game, I've never. Aside from the Mass Effect series, I've never been punched in the gut harder than
I cried
playing Spider-Man.
Twice that I can think off the top of my head. Obviously, when Aunt May.
Yes.
In the hospital.
Yes.
And then fighting the entire fight scene of Doc Ock.
Yes.
That was brutal.
Both of those moments are absolutely incredible. And the reason I say I want to give a shout out to it is because of the acting and performances of the actors in that game.
Yes, that's true.
The gameplay is fun. It's a really fun Spider-Man game.
Right.
But the acting and the writing in that game are what make it stand out to me.
Yeah, that mocap is perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyway, I agree with you.
Alan?
I'll just set the Wayback Machine. We're
going back to.
I walked into this bar, and in the back, between the pinball machines, Pong.
You know, you go back to old Nolan Bushnell there, and you know, I'll swing all the way back to, you know, setting up the original, and I actually did this.
Yeah.
Set up the original game room at one of the original Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time theaters in like 1982.
Oh, man.
And video games had become...
Fast forward 5 years, and the hairy one was born.
So
I love the fact that you're in an era right now where there was no Brodee Scott.
There is none. There's not.
What a
there are no
dull, miserable world.
Okay. As everybody picks their feet up on that one. Whoa, all right.
The only way to have fun was through cocaine.
We had laser.
Born out of those ashes.
Hey,
Ewok emerged.
there's a lot of polyester in
We
those
had
jeans,
laser
everybody.
discs and Betamax. Like,
all right, you got a picture. You've never seen anything like this before.
Right.
A friend of mine in Great Britain sends me this little executable file to install on a computer.
okay.
And this is like
Brutal.
this is like on a 286.
yeah.
And the download time on this thing,
It probably took 5 years.
it took like overnight. You
6 years
you
later.
tied a phone. You tied a phone line up all night to do this.
12 years.
You installed it,
later.
and it was something they called a screensaver.
Oh God.
We hadn't really had these before, and what it was a sheep,
Oh God.
and it would like walk. It would like when it came on, it would like walk around your screen. It would like chew on things.
Did you shoot it?
And you could pet it. You could
You could play with it.
You could
Like,
interact with it.
It was a thing. This is why it's gaming.
And if you didn't have anything to do with that after a while, it would throw a temper tantrum.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the original Tamagotchi.
And,
Yeah.
Well, it was all up at the same time, and it would literally, but the only time it had audio was when it threw a hissy fit. And suddenly your computer would be, and I am sitting in the middle of this.
Basically reminding you, hey, your computer's still on. Come turn this thing off.
High pressure meeting in this office, and suddenly the computer on the other side goes meh, 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 and the person being it's trying to click on this thing and find that stupid sheep, and it would like chew on your so. This was, you would actually have people gathered around waiting on the screensaver to come up.
Don't touch the mouse. Don't touch anything.
So that
Did you set it to 1 minute?
Yeah. So the sheep would come out, and there would be like 8 or 9 people gathered around.
What simpler times.
And
But this is the amazing thing about
Now-
gaming, though, because people
now-
have been saying like, "Oh
now
man,
we all-
how do people find enjoyment out of like watching esports or whatever?"
Right.
People found enjoyment out of watching a dude pet a sheep.
Hey, I'm going to say this. Esports, at their most boring, are still more exciting than the most exciting TikTok video.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
That's true.
And then the next
Hashtag
thing
wasabi challenge.
the next thing you knew, you had little lemmings and stuff building little worlds.
Oh, dude, I love lemmings.
And you could blow stuff up.
Yeah, you could blow
and
up the
you could
lemmings.
interact.
Oh, no.
Self-destruct lemmings.
And then there was some kind of
Sending disasters through SimCity.
Oh, yeah. That was,
know,
playing God was always fun.
Oh yeah.
and these things were terrible. Then there was like this little interactive with avatars over AOL back when AOL.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And all of it was just so shocking. And by today's standards,
it's not.
I mean, this is this is guys go knock the rocks together and try to make some fire. But you'd never seen it before.
That reminds me. One of my favorite games, Commodore 64, BC's Quest for Tires.
Yes.
It's cavemen, man.
And I'll bring up one of the worst classics ever.
E.T.?
Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh man, that was
That was
great.
just naughty.
That was great. Where nobody wanted to admit that they played it.
Everybody,
but everybody played
that
it.
white leisure suit man.
Yeah.
It was just.
I remember that being a joke at like my parents would have like parties and stuff at the house, and they'd be like, "Oh, look at Leisure Suit Larry," and nobody wanted to admit that they knew what that was.
Yeah.
But everybody knew what it was because it was a joke.
Everybody had it. So I mean. So welcome to those faltering little steps as a child, small child, and then I remember suddenly you could fly a spaceship and shoot giant cat things.
Yeah.
And And then you would get a really bad movie with Freddie Prinze in it, or Freddie Prinze Jr. And it was
horrible.
The fact that you could fly different kinds of ships, and
I love how Alan's is like very nostalgic and like 8-bit, and we're like, how beautiful the artwork is now.
We were losing our minds then.
Just the evolution of. I mean, you're talking about 82.
We're talking 30 years.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. 82 to
32-bit color.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the Laserdisc games, of course, there was Dragon's Lair.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Dragon's. No, I'm sorry. We want to talk about artistry. Dragon's Lair is
awesome.
Beautiful piece
Here we
of
go.
art.
Impossible game, but it was
Don
awesome.
Bluth, former Disney animator,
Yes.
spent 6 years drawing that game. It is beautiful.
Yes.
I freaking love Dragon's
That's
Lair.
a passion project, though.
Yeah, for real.
But
Space
that,
Ace.
but that
Space
Laserdisc, but
Mist.
that,
Mist.
The original
the
Mist.
original Mist.
Yes.
The original Mist.
But see, you kind of follow this all the way up. I mean, it came from
I remember
just
my
the
mom playing
simplest
Mist,
little
and she was like,
things.
guys,
Yeah.
we got to figure this out. I am stuck.
Yeah.
And this
The puzzles
The
and
puzzles
stuff,
were
dude.
crazy.
Like,
Oh, we can jump back in that nostalgia machine all
we totally
day.
could.
Yeah.
My mother, the reason that I am a gamer, my mother had a Texas Instruments computer.
Oh, yeah.
That had these big, huge, chunky first of all, the keyboard was about the size of this soundboard that's sitting in front
For
of me.
those of you who can't see the soundboard,
And-
it's 3 feet across.
No lie.
It had these chunky, huge cartridges that you'd have to slide into the slot
Because
to the
we're in
side.
the original radio studio.
That's right.
And they were all knockoffs of like arcade classics. So instead of like Pac-Man, she had a game called Munchman.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right.
And my mother would be up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because the computer lived in my bedroom as a 6-year-old little boy.
You were doomed.
4 in the morning with the keyboard.
Clack, 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 clack,
Clack, clack, clack, clack,
Oh, yeah,
clack, clack, clack,
tactiles.
clack, 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 clack. And I'm like, Mom. And she's like, I can't use the joystick. It's not fast enough.
Mom, why is that guy wearing a white leisure suit?
Yeah. Oh, that's great stuff. Hey, what's your favorite? You can hit us up on social media, or you can email us. We're at geektankradio@gmail.com.
We've talked about them,
We've played them.
and now we'll show you.
The all-new Twitch channel from Geek Tank Radio is here,
Go Ready Player Geek.
where we unpack and dive into single-player story-driven games, to fighters, to multiplayer shooters, to tabletop and card games, and everything in between.
And stay up to date with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Ready Player Geek.
Check us out now at twitch.tv/ReadyPlayerGeek.
Streaming every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night at 8 Central.
Their superpower is knowing everything in the geek universe. Geek Tank Radio is on.
Okay, guys, a few seasons back, we heard about Alien Stock, which was going to piggyback on the
Area 51
raid.
Yeah.
And, they laid out all these amazing things that were happening. And then they gave you all these things like, we've got permits for this, and we're taking donations to get porta potties and water and all this stuff. Comes out a little earlier this week. The guys behind Alien Stock have pulled out of Alien Stock. The permit holder was unwilling to discuss things such as infrastructure,
Right.
and
Like
safety,
where to put the porta potties.
and security,
Yeah.
and everything else. So while there is still going to be something going on at Rachel, Nevada, at the Alien Inn thingy,
Yes, the little alien. Yes.
Alien Stock themselves have pulled out.
Right.
Now,
There's an
And
EDM
they're-
festival.
and they're now
that
going to have an EDM festival in
they're now
Vegas.
going to do an EDM. I mean, it's an EDM night somewhere in downtown Vegas.
Right.
Right.
Which
Which
is
that
gonna be-
weekend in
it's
itself
going to
is
be
gonna be
Thursday
crazy.
night, so they get to basically kick off what will be the iHeart Music Fest.
Right. So Thursday night you have the EDM night. Friday night you have the daytime village of the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Saturday night you have the actual iHeartRadio Music Festival night 2. And I mean, why not? It's a brilliant idea.
I got to
Yeah.
give this guy props for pulling out of what was originally going to happen because, I mean, and he says it, he does not want to be a part of
Firefest
2.0.
Right.
Which, what were we saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we
I think-
all
it's-
predicted it.
Yeah, we all knew this was
We all
happening.
knew this was going to happen. Except it kind of went a little too far. I think it would have happened had Grubby Hands not gotten involved. Had this just been a raid Area 51, right?
Well, I mean,
the raid never happened. It just a bunch of nerds got together in Rachel, Nevada, okay, and thought, wouldn't this be awesome?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you know what that would have turned into? That would have turned into an annual con.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it would have actually turned into a stargazing event.
Yeah. It would have turned into an annual convention.
I mean, it would have started off as just, a couple hundred people hanging out in Rachel, Nevada at that inn.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it would have, they would have started bringing in revenue because people would be going there, for a couple of years. And then Rachel, Nevada would be like, let's build a convention center and bring more of these nerds.
Right.
And it could have built.
But you had grubby hands get in there and go, no, what we need to do is turn it into a festival. Yeah. No, you morons.
Yeah. It's like, look,
we need some guy to bring water, and he's willing to do anything for it. Yeah. All right.
I can't believe that guy's got a TV show of his own now.
I know.
All I got to say is desert. Yeah, really, desert.
Yeah,
no infrastructure.
There's nothing to do out there besides go stargazing. I'm going to be honest with you. The best place to go stargazing is in the middle of frickin' nowhere, man.
Yeah,
we were in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. You know what we saw? Stars, and it was incredible.
Really, you weren't too busy on the water slide that went around the entire.
Dude,
ship?
It was so much fun. But you couldn't ride it at night. So
that sucks.
At dusk, it closed when the sun went down. Yeah, it was kind of lame. But, after that, though,
there
were plenty of people on the deck that were complaining, like, hey, turn out the deck lights.
Where is a great place to stargaze if you're not on a boat? The desert.
The desert, exactly. Which is why,
because a lot of times that's the last thing you see before you die of dehydration in the desert. The stars, even in the middle of the day.
well, I mean, that's where your carbon's going back up to the cosmos, and that's awesome.
Returning to stardust.
Exactly, from dust to dust.
I'm happy. Well, all right. One, I'm happy there was a lot of thought in this. There's been a lot of excitement about it.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of thought. So your prediction might be a future prediction that Rachel, Nevada may want to continue cashing in on their celebrity.
Well, what I think was amazing about it was the fact that, we didn't end up hearing about this after next weekend.
Right.
Where
this terrible debacle in the desert where
it's like
people died.
It's still a ham and cheese sandwich, but now it's sandy ham and cheese.
Right.
Yeah. Well, being in a city that is a tourist destination for uninformed tourists from around the world.
Right.
We have a certain month we just survived. We have August. We have people from around the world that do not comprehend that, no, seriously, the temperatures here in August are 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's well, trying to explain to people who are like, I'm going to come to Memphis in August. No, you're not.
Yeah, it's
you're going to come. It's like there's no point in coming. It's like walking.
It is hotter
soup.
here than it is in Central America. I'm just saying.
But you have these poor people from Sweden, or Denmark.
But those two clowns. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. Last weekend at the news, when the news broke, right? Well, when the news broke that they were canceling Alien stock, these two morons. One was a YouTuber, right? Lies or something like that.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
there's 4,000 YouTubers who don't do anything.
They're from Denmark, and they decided that no, they're going to raid it anyway.
Yeah.
You friggin' morons. It says no trespassing. The raid was never going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot...
Guys, it's a Facebook event.
Yeah.
Nobody shows up to a Facebook event unless it's like, a birthday party and it's just your family.
Right. And I think it got a little out of hand when those morons, the cash-grubbing morons, decided to turn it into a festival, and the morons who actually thought it was real got together and said, yes, we're going to do it. That's what the downfall of Alien Stock was. It could have been a really cool event, a cool stargazing event. I could have seen Mass Hysteria, Jeremy Feldman, getting out there and bringing a whole group out to Rachel, Nevada to check out some...
Jeremy's got sense. He would have never done that.
Well, but what I'm saying is I can see
he would have
groups
made
like
sure that he
going.
Go to the desert to go stargazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Jeremy's going to make sure that you're somewhere close enough to civilization that you don't die.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but it has brought... I like the fact it has brought up the topic I also like the fact that the organizers had enough sense to like duck and run,
right,
and head back to Vegas where there's water, alcohol,
civilization,
buffets, bathrooms, a lack of scorpions.
Well, the problem was that people saw this as their chance to do their own version of Burning Man or Coachella or something, and it's like, dude, you don't do that piggybacking off of a joke event,
right?
Yeah, no,
and you definitely don't do it, 2 hour drive away from where you're going to raid anyway.
Right. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. I mean, they just picked Rachel, Nevada because it was the closest to Area 51, which is still 2 hours away.
Yeah, it's the gateway. Right. But the more you drive, as any number of Travel Channel shows will tell you, as you drive up, you will see vehicles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You are not unobserved.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean,
this is the worst.
Have you ever been over there?
This is the worst kept secret base on the planet.
So,
but you ain't getting in.
My parents took us to Reno, Nevada. All right, and we decided that we were going to drive, take a trip north because Reno's south. So we tried to south. I don't remember. Anyway, we decided to go over to check out as close to Area 51.
Brody's still recovering from his trip.
Yeah. It's okay.
There are more no trespassing signs that literally encompass the road. It's not just like a sign on the road. There's like a pillared, like, welcome to Disneyland sign that says
get out.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Go on the other highway 69 or 61 or whatever it is. Route 66 that goes straight through it, So I don't feel bad for people who are quote unquote raiding, who thought that the raiding was real.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they still got a week. Somebody's going to organize 14 nerds thinking they can do the Naruto run, and as some guy laughs.
I finally saw what that actually was a couple of weeks ago, and I was like,
"Did you not know?
No, I didn't know."
Oh God, it's hilarious.
And
it's awesome.
But I think
it's awesome for a spectator.
But you gotta love the guy who's at the gate going, here they come.
Oh God!
Should we just kill them, or do we hit them with the rubber bullets? Hit them with the rubber bullets. And somebody screams just before they start firing the rubber bullets. They can't get us all. There's 12 of you.
Yeah, they can.
I mean,
they can get all of you with one.
It doesn't matter if there's thousands of you. They have weaponry that fires 30,000 rounds a second.
I'll just say this for any nerd that wants to raid in the desert. Just remember,
there's no Mountain Dew.
Just remember, there's a nerd weapon. It's called Jericho. They can get all of you.
Yeah. God. No, have you seen the new memes that have been coming out of?
We'll see if they buy that.
Well, I mean, the new memes.
Yeah, the new memes.
No.
Yeah. So the new one now is that Windows 9 is being held in Area 51 because we went from 8 to 10.
Right.
So they're like, Windows 9 is there. We have to get that one.
Wait, does that mean the iPhone 9 is there as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be.
Easily. Of course it does.
All the 9s go there.
Yeah.
It got
By the way, that new iPhone 11 looks sick, but that's everything.
Well, dude, did you see all the people who are freaking out about the 3 camera lenses?
Yeah.
Yeah, their phobias are getting... Tryptophobia is not real.
Yeah.
I had I saw a picture yesterday. It was this guy rubbing his hands over a keyboard. It said Apple waiting to push the button that destroys everything Apple or iPhone 7 and below next week.
Anyway, guys, that's all we got on Alien stock, and
we knew it wasn't going to happen.
But when we come back, we're going to retread the past 2 seasons.
Called it.
Geek Tank Radio, energized by
Dark Oak Press and Media, an indie publisher and media provider offering everything from Alice in Memphis to mystery to young adult and everything in between. Get the latest at darkoakpress.com.
More below and on 1019kissfm.com. Keyword Geek Tank. They don't do reviews.
Processing incoming feed.
But that doesn't mean they won't tell you about everything they watch. The Geek Patrol is on Geek Tank Radio.
So while he was in international waters, Brodee saw the new Joker movie.
I thought it was great.
Okay.
I loved it.
That's amazing.
It's a schizophrenic, nightmare-fueled... Loved it. It was great. You didn't know it was real.
Okay.
It's Scorsese. It's okay. To harken back, like what was it? 2 weeks ago when you guys did last week?
Yes.
When you guys did this.
2 weeks ago. No, we've done it for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is week 3.
Yeah.
The name of this episode is literally just like the last 2 seasons, but with Brodee.
Okay, so yeah, it's a Scorsese film. What was the?
He produced it.
What was the name
Or
of
he
it?
was going to produce it.
What, the King of Comedy?
King of Comedy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's King of Comedy, but with Joaquin Phoenix
Okay.
and the
Some
Joker, right?
And some makeup.
Yeah, right. But it's the same movie.
Yeah.
It is literally the same movie where you don't know in the King of Comedy.
We've said that 2 seasons in a row.
Right.
Joe
Yeah.
wouldn't let us really get it out last season because he was scared of spoilers.
Right.
Not that Joe's ever seen the King of Comedy.
No.
Wait
If
a
you've
minute.
seen
He's worried about a spoiler for the King of Comedy?
He's worried about the spoilers for the Joker.
It's
Like
the
we all
same
know how
movie,
it
dude.
ends?
It is literally the same movie. It is quite honestly almost frame by frame in some parts. Mm-hmm. You know, like when he's about to go take the stage, he's like, "Call me Joker." Well, that is like exact, almost verbatim, except not "Call me Joker," "Call me the King of Comedy." Is verbatim what the dude says to or what De Niro says to the other dude. Like
Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis, yeah.
Jerry Lewis, yeah.
I mean,
I love the fact that I am now starting to believe that Brodee has heard about the synopsis of and some clips from Kings of Comedy, but I don't think he's watched the whole thing. So we got to make him watch the whole thing.
of King of Comedy, I did. I saw it. It's Joker.
No.
I saw it.
I'm sorry,
Why do I
but
want to
there's
see it again? He talks to himself and a lot, and he hears voices. Like, I think every time Joker's winning, it's all in his head.
Oh, yeah.
Every time, like, you know, he sees like the people, you know, yeah, Joker, and we're with you, and all that other stuff, you know, and they're wearing the masks. That's all in his head. Those people aren't there, or they are there, but just not in that context. None of that is real. That's all in his head. That is perceived reality. Hashtag schizophrenia. It's all made up in his head.
Well, look at it this way.
None of it's real.
He's never alone.
Exactly. He is
Okay,
with himself.
So
Okay,
Andy,
I'm going to say
let me-
it like this.
wait, before you get into this.
Okay.
So me and you.
Yep.
Hashtag justified.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not
Thank
the-
you, Brodee. Not
not-
only have you proven us right for the past 2 seasons, but you've now opened the floodgate, and I'm going to let Andy handle it.
Also, not hashtag justified for that TV show that had Timothy Olyphant.
Well, we do like that show, though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
this is a different
okay.
thing. Okay, Joe said last week, like, almost that exact thing. Like, what if it's, you know, all of that stuff is just him going crazy and it's all made up in his head and whatever. And he wakes up in the end in a padded cell and it's all just been his ramblings.
No, I don't think he's in a padded cell.
Whatever.
He's not, because he's not getting help. This is not unmedicated.
I said that would literally be the worst possible story they could tell.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Because it's the exact equivalent of it was all a dream.
Yeah, it's Dallas.
Yeah.
I agree.
I know Alan can absolutely back me up on this. That is the worst possible
I didn't
ending
say
you
it
could
was.
give
I didn't listen.
to a
I didn't
reader.
say it was a good Joker film.
No.
I just said it was a good film.
Yeah,
Because-
no. What you've just done, though, it is justified everything we have said the past 2 seasons. We've said it's going to be an amazing film.
Exactly.
That's no doubt.
Agreed.
But
It's going to be a
not
terrible depiction of the
Joker
Joker.
movie.
Yeah,
Exactly. I'm not fighting you on that. I agree with you 110%. This is a terrible Batman movie, okay?
All
This is a terrible Joker
remove
movie.
the fact that it has anything at all to do with DC Comics.
Right.
And just
Right.
go with it is a pop culture icon.
Right.
Sure.
Exactly.
Ego.
Yes.
Then it's a great movie.
Then I predicted this back at the very first commercial. I said this is going to be an interior psych thriller
Right.
that is just incidentally going to feature makeup, and it's going to feature makeup.
You know, I
From
think
a
they
pop
kind of
culture icon.
I think the producers and everybody padded themselves with this too by saying this is not anything that you've ever seen in the comic books. This is not going to tie in to any of the DCEU or anything along those lines.
which is fine, and which is
Sure.
none of that bothers us. The thing is that, and I'm going to say it like this, and I apologize in advance.
Ooh.
mainstream audiences are friggin' stupid.
That's true.
So they are going to glom onto this, and they're going to use this as a way of, once again, elevating the Joker into this hero status, which never should happen.
Right.
No,
I agree with you on that.
I'm kind of getting sick and tired of fandom in general taking these non-redeemable characters and trying their best to redeem them.
No.
Not only ruining the characters, but ruining their understanding of anything that goes on.
Harley Quinn.
Thank you, Brodee. I'm so glad you said that.
Thank you.
Harley Quinn doesn't really love Joker. There, I said.
Nobody cares about
No,
that.
it's not even that. Harley Quinn herself is not a redeemable character.
Harley Quinn-
Yes, she's a victim
Harley
of the Joker,
Quinn-
but she's done some horrible things in her own right.
Even after breaking away from him and being independent, this is someone who booby-trapped children's games on Christmas and killed 30 some odd children trying to get his attention to prove she's better than him.
Right.
Yes.
That's not a hero.
No.
Right.
And the fact that they're making her into one because she's popular and kind of Deadpool-ish, but with boobs, is ridiculous.
Yeah, you know what? We have a Deadpool with boobs. It's
called
Gwenpool.
Lady Deadpool.
No.
there's
It's
Lady
Gwenpool,
Deadpool.
and she's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying that this is a Joker movie.
Exactly.
Okay, so don't
that's been my contention.
Don't misinterpret
me.
me.
No, we're not misinterpreting you.
Okay.
We're just saying that everything you just told us, having seen the movie, justifies everything we've been saying the past 2 weeks.
Right. And at no point did I even feel like this Joker was Batman villain Joker.
No, it's more the laughing
when I was watching
to
it,
be honest, it's more the laughing man.
Yeah, it's more
man.
like even like to a certain point, like Trickster to a certain point. I mean, because some of the weird pranks that he would pull and stuff like that, it kind of felt juvenile, like. That kind of Trickster was always pulling even on the CW show where he'd fill up a stuffed animal and random stuff like that, kind of Joker-esque, but not really Joker.
Well,
the
Trickster's the Trickster, and
right, yeah.
But
totally different.
So here's the thing,
they're both played by Mark Hamill. But
What's your opinion of the acting job overall?
Of Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
I loved it.
He totally...
Oh, no, he nailed it. He nailed the schizophrenic, which is, I think that's, if you look at it as a psychological, this is what schizophrenia is, from a schizophrenic's viewpoint, it's wonderful.
This is...
Because their perceived reality and versus reality are one and the same in their mind. They can't distinguish the two. And whenever somebody brings them back into reality and reminds them of how terrible their life is, which is what you saw, and you see it when he's writing even in his joke book and stuff, and how it would get very manic, towards the end of the pages and stuff, that is he has no concept.
Right. So not only did you justify everything we've said the past 2 seasons, but you've also taken it to this point of where we now have to worry about people who are going to use this to justify their own things.
Yeah. Which is what I've been saying the whole time.
I think to a point, but it also might. Hey, listen, this is what Johnny or Susie has been acting like. And it might call attention to those people and those families that can go, you know what? Maybe Johnny or Susie really does need help. Their delusion of grandeur is so mixed with reality that we have a problem here. I'm just saying, stranger things have happened. Look at what happened after A Beautiful Mind. Okay, after A Beautiful Mind, this whole concept of having the idiot savant, but a very high functioning idiot savant, kind of came into play, and it was well, maybe there's a new spectrum here, and some things changed, not a lot, but some things changed in that regard, in that field. I'm not saying that this is going to be groundbreaking. Obviously, this is a remake of a film that came out in the 80s. Is when
King of Comedy,
King of Comedy came out.
Was it was 30 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, it didn't change the world then, and it was a mediocre Scorsese film at best. But with this getting so much attention because it's Joker, okay,
because it's a comic book movie, or at least people think that it's a comic book movie.
No. It doesn't matter how dramatic it is. It doesn't matter what subject matters they stamp. As soon as you slap that DC logo at the beginning, which you know it's there, you're no longer a social commentary. You are a comic book movie.
Right.
That's what you'll be seen as, no matter how groundbreaking or whatever. But one of the things that we have noticed is it pretty much,
Sucked?
No. It takes that step, and it dramatizes a genuine issue. And yeah, that may bring up some awareness, but it's like WebMD. You're going to have people who are like, well, Johnny acts this way, he must be. Not we should look into getting him help. It's he must be. It's when so many people were out there self-diagnosing their kids with ADHD that didn't have it, but by the time they talked to their doctor, they ended up on Ritalin and became zombies, killing every bit of creativity the kid had.
True. I mean, listen, again, I don't think that it's going to change the world. This movie isn't going to systematically change the way psychiatric healthcare is provided.
Oh, no, it won't. But what it'll make is it will create...
It starts a conversation.
It's going to create 20 million, experts on schizophrenia because they saw Joker.
You'll also have a lot of people...
It's like people who think that they know the law because they watched 2 seasons of Law and Order SVU.
True.
Like, I also think that you're going to end up with a lot of people who are going to feel...
Look, Joker was justified.
Yes. And a lot of people who are going to feel like disenfranchised or whatever because they're going to be like, well, I kind of behave that way or feel that way or whatever. You saying that I'm going to become some kind of mass murdering loon as well? Like,
Why are you staring at me when you say that?
Because all you're missing is makeup?
Wow, Andy really looks uncomfortable.
I didn't. What?
I liked the movie. I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah. And
I hated the fact that it was called Joker. I think
it would have been a better film if it hadn't been
a DC
attached to a DC property.
I think if they would have called it The Joker. Okay.
I think if they wouldn't have used the Joker itself and actually just done Joaquin Phoenix's version of King of Comedy,
yeah,
it would be. I mean,
and they could have dressed him up as a Joker, or like the clown makeup and stuff. I think still, but I think in order to get around that, they had to call it Joker because.
Well, you had to. If you're going to use the makeup, then all of your famous clowns.
Todd Phillips had an amazing idea for a movie that he would never have gotten the funding for if he didn't go to Warner's and go, hey, I got an idea of doing a Joker movie.
True.
Right. Or, McDonald's would have sued him, or somebody would have sued him, or somebody's TV show would have sued him because, your
That's
clown.
my clown makeup.
Well, I mean,
I mean, that the clown union's going to come out on.
Well, I was like, I hate to say it, but
they're already going crazy over Pennywise again, and oh god.
The only issue going on with Pennywise right now is the fact that people thought that the posters were too scary for kids. Those have been pulled. It's fine.
Yeah.
There were a couple of posters they were putting out that were a little more. They were pushing that envelope to be flat out. You're walking your kid to see whatever the latest animated feature is, and right next to it is bloody Pennywise cheer, basically.
Yeah.
That's might be a little
much.
Yeah,
a little much.
Speaking of which, that was a clown movie. It was actually really good.
That's a great comedy.
It too. Yeah,
it's a good comedy.
It too wasn't a comedy.
Brodee laughed at the end.
I can't watch it. I haven't seen it.
Well, I know that.
I just read
you shudder from either.
I've read the reviews, and I was like,
it was great.
That's just a ploy for me to go see it.
It was great to see the Deadlights. It was so good. Anyway, So it was just like the last 2 seasons, but now with more Brodee.
Yeah.
But when we get back, Brodee's going to take us on a trip through Conspiracy Nation and Hollywood High School.
We've talked about them.
We've played them.
And now we'll show you.
The all-new Twitch channel from Geek Tank Radio is here.
Go Ready Player Geek.
Where we unpack and dive into single-player story-driven games, to fighters, to multiplayer shooters, to tabletop and card games, and everything in between.
And stay up to date with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Ready Player Geek.
Check us out now at twitch.tv/ReadyPlayerGeek.
Streaming every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night at 8 Central.
It's time.
Their hats are made from Marvel foil covers from the 90s.
Now, stand back for your own safety.
It's time for another deep dive into Conspiracy Nation with the Geek Patrol here on Geek Tank Radio.
Too many times we hear about the Illuminati is running the show. Ooh, there's some secret organization that is, the mastermind behind everything, right?
Yeah. It was Aunt Becky.
Well, yeah, to a certain degree, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
It is the parental unit running the show who has fueled the fire, keeping things going. Gentlemen, I introduce you to Hollywood High.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so the conspiracy is this, that it's not necessarily the problem with the kids
Right.
when they're younger. The problem is the kids when they get to high school.
Okay.
And it only affects, like, when I say Hollywood High, I mean like the influential high schools. There's at least one in every city. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I would call out names here, but I don't want the hate mail.
You went to one.
No, not really. I went to one that wanted to be one. Okay? And that got angry at the influential high school because we weren't it. Okay?
Right.
We were like the second child, if you will. Okay? And I use the air quotes. But there's one in every city. Okay? Those high schools that turn the tide of the mind of the kids who go there. Okay? Whether it be money, whether it be fame, or whether it be power, in the sense that they just basically breed these kids, if you will, to take over whatever it is that they have in the city. Okay, mayoral, city council,
A certain level of expectation.
right? Okay, and the kids who don't in those Hollywood Highs, as I call them, are shunned. They are essentially like, no, you didn't go here. Don't say that you did. Okay. And it all has to do with high school. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because in grade school, you're just learning about the X's and O's. Okay. Like, this is math. This is reading. This is, that kind of stuff. All right. Andy, you could be an educator. You understand that, right?
Yes.
Okay. I looked at Andy because he's an educator. He was on his phone. But when you get to high school, that's where your more social aspect of life happens, right?
Yes.
People start dating.
You can screw up worse.
You can screw up a lot worse,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
right.
And this is where actual money exists.
That's true.
Okay, where what you wear, how you do, what you do matters. Okay, so let's go to a true Hollywood high. Okay, let's go to celebrity. Okay, celebrities put their kids in these prestigious schools, expecting a level of celebrity because that's where they were. Okay. They just farm this. They just cultivate this, and this is good because that's what it is. But without these schools, everybody's on a level playing field.
Okay.
You see where I'm going with this?
Uh-huh.
This is the conspiracy here. That these Hollywood
That
highs...
Pink Floyd was right?
Yeah. Yeah, man. All in all, we're just another brick in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, we, as a collective unit who didn't go to these prestigious high schools, are, just the mortar that holds it all together, while the bricks, the high-standing, quote-unquote, societal people, who are, by the way, just terrible people. Usually are just terrible people because they didn't get the struggle, that weird feeling of doubt.
Which eventually led to the sense of accomplishment,
right?
Which they then crap all over because
instead it's
they were
entitlement
to
because they always went to that prestigious high school. Yeah. So if you feel like you've never had that, guess what? You went to a Hollywood high.
So you're trying to say our society is being dictated upon a lack of wedgies.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, just checking.
Did you put it that way? I didn't think of it that way, but yeah. A lack of swirly. Yeah.
Wow.
I never had a swirly. I did get locked in a locker once.
You did get put in the locker.
Yeah. But I was a weird kid. I had jock friends and nerd friends, so I was weird.
I didn't like anybody, so it's like I didn't. It's like I had a ton of friends.
But you see, in Hollywood High, those quote unquote tropes exist.
Mm-hmm.
You have the nerds. You still have all of that stuff, right?
Right.
But if those tropes go to a different school that's not a Hollywood High, they're still the coolest kids in the school.
Mm-hmm.
See where I'm going with that? Like, they're the elitist of the group. There's no Illuminati. It's just a Hollywood High.
Well, the biggest problem with your conspiracy, as far as that part goes, if you take those people who should have been in these elite schools and you put them somewhere else, they don't rise to the top because they get beat down by the people who've always known who they actually are.
But they're still the coolest kid in school. They know their name. Everybody knows their name. They get beat down, but everybody knows their name.
That knowing who they are does not make them the coolest kid, because you know the nerdiest kid too.
That's the level of prestige.
You also know the kid who probably has a knife in his coat.
Well, true. It's true. But that's the level of prestige that comes from Hollywood High.
I think you're reaching on that part.
I don't think so, man. Listen. There's one in every city.
All these elite schools, whether we're talking about the one here, which is very well known.
Oh yeah.
Or, whether it's in West Beverly or in New York City or anywhere else, those schools are great and all, but they don't actually create anything.
They do.
No.
The only thing they create is that level of entitlement.
No, they already had that. They had that from preschool because mommy's nannies took care of them and handed them the gold.
Mommy's nannies.
Okay? So it's like,
oh dear, we're about to start handing out the trophies for showing up.
Yeah,
but those, I never got one.
I'm not.
I want my.
I'm not talking about the participation trophies. We had enough of those statues taken down here in Memphis. Anyway,
I want mine. That's what I'm saying. I want my just show up trophy.
See, here's the thing, is that they had that entitlement. The entitlement wasn't instilled in them in the high school.
No, it was cultivated in the high school.
No. What they learned in the high school was exactly where they were going to be expected to lay about and not do anything.
Right.
Because out of your celebrities, they and your famous people, your rich people, they put their kids into these schools. Those kids don't ever amount to anything.
Right.
Except for a leech on daddy's wallet.
Right.
Or in this case, a security advisor for the Trump administration.
But you see, the thing is they're put in those levels of power that they don't need to be in.
Right, exactly. But that's not cultivated in the high school. That's cultivated from birth, Brodee.
I don't think so, man.
I think so. Because those kids, there's a reason why those kids who went to those daycares where you had to basically get the slot 2 to 3 years before the wife gets pregnant.
I understand.
In order to put them in there.
Yeah.
The high school itself, that was the few places where they learned the hard knocks.
But the X's and O's, okay, when we're talking about preschool and grade school and those kind of schooling, up until high school. Yeah. So even down to middle school, you're still learning the X's and O's. And any kid is any kid. Okay? Kids are all the same. This is like nature versus nurture kind of discussion here. But
I'm going to go nurture on this.
To a level, you're right. To a certain degree, you're right. However, any kid that goes off then to a different high school who came from those and it doesn't really happen all that often. But any kid who goes then to a second school, okay, who doesn't get into the Hollywood High, has like this not mentality of woe is me, but they have the mentality of I need to do better.
All right, I'm waiting on the college twist to this.
Oh, the college twist, they mommy and daddy just pay their way in.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did in high school.
Yeah.
Lori Loughlin.
They just shift their way into Ivy League. I was literally about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just shift their way into Ivy League.
Right. I mean, okay, case in point, Harvard Law and Yale Law. Okay, yes, there's a degree of prestige that comes with those, right? However, I'm going to speak to my alma mater about this, but in Oxford, Mississippi, there is a BA law school down there that, quite honestly, is putting out just as good.
Well, see, the thing you're going to learn,
if not better,
the thing you're going to learn here, no, it's better, because the one thing you learn down in Mississippi. One thing you learn at the U of M law school.
Yeah, U of M law school is great too.
What you learn at these law schools is you learn not only the ins and outs of the law, but you also learn litigation.
Right.
Harvard and Yale do not prepare you for litigation. They teach you how to debate.
Right.
But they don't prepare you for litigation, because lawyers with those Harvard degrees, those Yale degrees, they're going on to do estate law. Stuff where they can skim so much money off of it because that's what's expected of them.
Again,
but
those kids are coming from a high school high.
But they learned that stuff well before they were in high school high. When they get to high school, the Hollywood high school, they are already expecting, things to be handed to them on a silver platter.
There's a level of prestige, and those kids are cultivated in that, and then they go on to these Ivy Leagues, and then they're the rulers of the world. That's all I'm getting at. There is no such thing as the Illuminati, okay? And I might get struck down by the Illuminati when I walk out of here.
The Illuminati is real. Trust me.
Man.
Trust
it
me on
just
that.
doesn't exist the way that we think it does, because
the thing is at this point, the Illuminati doesn't care.
Right. Well,
it's like
the only way
Andy,
it exists is because
Brodee,
of high school.
I'm going to offend you here. It's like God. He's watching us as a fish tank. That's all the Illuminati does here on Earth. They watch us like a fish tank, and they're waiting to see how quickly the betas are going to get eaten.
God is a woman, so...
And?
I'm just saying.
What's the point?
That's the only thing when you brought up God. What if God was... Thanks, Elena. Yeah.
No, wrong singer.
God was one of us?
That's not Alanis Morissette.
Oh, no, it's not. It's...
Alanis Morissette played God.
Yeah,
in the Abuse universe.
Yeah.
Because she shows back up as God at the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah. But in any event, I think to a certain degree, yeah, you're kind of right. But the Illuminati is the high school.
Oh, no.
Hollywood High.
They're the guys who just sit there back. They're the ones who decide who's winning the Super Bowl, what reality show's getting renewed, and why I can't stop watching the Beverly Hills 90210 reboot.
Exactly. Those kids came from the high school.
No. Those guys are like 4,000 years old. They don't die.
But
There was no high school in Egypt, Brodee.
Those kids were in like the high school of their day.
It was just the Library of Alexandria they burned to the ground.
Exactly.
We moved it first.
Only the important text.
Anyway, that's all I'm saying. It all links back to high school. I'm not bitter. I had a good high school experience. I never want to go back, but I had a good high school.
No one had a good high school experience.
I love that Brodee swears he had a good high school experience, but he totally sounds bitter.
I'm not a good
bitter.
high school experience.
I had a pretty damn good one. I really did. Anyway. What? Don't look at me like that. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. No more.
It's your conspiracy. It's your conspiracy. You're supposed to segue into the randoms in the next episode.
Oh, yeah, it's random. Let's get random.
Geek Tank Radio, energized by
Dark Oak Press and Media, an indie publisher and media provider offering everything from Alice in Memphis to mystery to young adult and everything in between. Get the latest at darkoakpress.com.
More Below and on 1019kissfm.com. Keyword Geek Tank. There's always those stories that defy labels. Thankfully, there's the GTR Random Roundup.
All right, guys, it's time for us to get random, so I'm going to start off with Dateline, Florida.
Yeah.
Good place to start. Here we go.
Miami, in fact.
That's ironic.
A South Florida woman who claimed to be a psychic fortune teller has been sentenced to 3 years and 4 months in prison for taking $1.6 million from a Texas woman to remove a curse from her family.
And she didn't see that coming.
No.
But
So court records show that 28-year-old Sherry Tina Iwanowicz was sentenced last week in Miami.
You want to what?
Iwanowicz. We got a witch.
They wanted one and they got one.
Yeah. She previously pleaded guilty to wire fraud, and she must also pay restitution to this woman. Investors say Iwanowicz met the victim in Houston, Texas back in 2007. Iwanowicz gained the woman's trust and convinced her that a curse had been placed on her and her family. Mm-hmm. Now, she claimed she needed large sums of money for crystals and candles to perform the meditations that would lift the curse.
As you do, yeah.
Yeah. And so for 7 years, she bilked this woman for money.
Oh, my God. 7 years.
And
Good work
they say
if you can find
that
it.
the
No
scheme,
joke.
her scheme ended in 2014,
Yeah.
which was 5 years ago. She just got sentenced.
Oh my
So I mean,
God.
this thing's been in the works for a while. So the scheme ended in 2014 when Jovanovich admitted to the victim there had been no curse. You get the feeling that this woman was calling her on a daily basis,
Yeah.
because she had bad things happen, like a bird hit my window.
Yeah.
Hey, lady, I got some oil to sell you.
I got stung because there's a wasp nest in my
Like,
garage. Is this all part of the curse?
I'm hearing this woman, like the woman who just got sentenced, the psychic or whatever.
Yeah.
Like finally, this woman who was paying her calls her like 8 times a day, and finally she just snaps and is like, "There is no curse! Oh my god!"
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it was, because this woman was probably calling her in, like, into the middle of the night. And, and it wasn't even a yell, probably. It was probably like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And she reaches over and she gets the phone and she's like, "There's a dog barking outside. Are the hellhounds coming for me because of the curse?" And she's like, "You stupid. There is no curse." And,
You what?
Yeah,
What?
it's like, I made it up.
Yeah.
Just go away. Meanwhile, I think
you are the curse.
Meanwhile, I think that Texas woman just wanted a friend. A friend that cost $1.6 million
$1 million.
over 7 years.
Speaking of Texas, though, I've got one from Texas. All right.
Poor Texas.
Yeah, no, Texas is getting hurt on because authorities in Texas say, beware! Woo! There's a chimpanzee or possibly a monkey on the loose.
No, you need to beware of that. That bad boy will whoop you.
Yeah, so they're using drones and whatever for this quote-unquote monkey reported on the loose in the Santa Fe area.
Awesome.
All right, Texas Park and Wildlife spokesperson Steve Lightfoot, yes, you do need to travel lightly,
Yes.
said officials believe the animal is a chimpanzee and game wardens are aware of the reports, but Santa Fe Police in Galveston County, authorities are currently leading the efforts to locate the primate. They don't know if it's really there or not, though.
I think it escaped
somebody
from one of
just
those
saw it.
Carnival cruises.
Yeah, probably. But,
So, Brodee, where were you swimming?
well, you know what? Not too far.
You're furry. Right.
Just kind of pointing out.
Multiple sightings have been reported, but no true definitive reports or sightings have been, they haven't,
So we're monkey sniping.
yeah, they're not really sure if one's really there or not. They're just like, maybe.
I just love the idea of a whole bunch of, good old boys in Texas riding around in their truck.
Looking for a chimpanzee.
Looking for a chimpanzee.
Hey,
And
y'all,
then it's like,
y'all seen a monkey over here? No, man. All right.
no, and it's like,
Come here, cheetah.
They got their trank
yeah, I'm
guns
just-
out because they don't want to kill the thing. They want to catch it and teach it to smoke.
No, I'm just waiting on Clint Eastwood to show up and just be like, "Where's Clyde?"
That's an orangutan. But yeah,
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
that's an
Oh, man. That's I don't know, man. Chimpanzee's a bad mother, though.
Yeah, but what's up with all the craziness coming out of Texas, man?
Yeah, Texas.
Well, you
Texas
know,
taking the Florida heat.
Florida's needs a break. Texas is big. But I'm going to glare at all three of you for a moment for my random.
Okay.
The World Health Organization has a notice for you.
Oh no.
Yes. In the 11th edition of the International Classification of Diseases, better known as ICD-11, they have something just for the three of you. They have a brand new classification in
Sterilization.
Nope.
Paid $800 for that.
Yeah, that's real. But they actually are going to give you an ICD-9 so that you can learn how to identify and diagnose the disorder. Would you like to know what that disorder is?
Gaming.
Is it gaming addiction?
It is gaming disorder.
Yes.
Gaming disorder, which is different than the gaming addiction.
Okay.
So,
Is this under the umbrella of gambling disorder?
This is where
you know-
you sit there and you feel that you're pushing buttons when your hands don't have a controller.
Oh, okay. Pressing jump whenever I jump.
yeah, well, I love this thing. It goes, well, there's a few conspiracies around this, or at least some questions, because mental health professionals really don't know how to treat the disorder yet. And I can't wait to see
Free
what a
games.
rehab center for this looks like.
Yeah, no joke.
Free games.
No TVs.
No TVs, just
No
blank
computers.
walls. No,
Blank-
no
Blank
smart.
No,
white
no,
walls.
you
No
can't-
smartphones.
No, you can't cure an addiction with cold turkey. It doesn't work. It just makes you want it more, and then you freak out, and then you break somebody's skull open and use their brain as a controller. Not that I've been to Petty Nitpicking Wines when they were doing this, but it was interesting. So nice.
By the way, shout out to the smartphone for making it into the Toy Hall of Fame this year. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to bring it around full circle back to Miami.
Florida! Miami!
Hey! Where I think the greatest story that I've ever read in my life has come from.
Okay.
So the Miami Heat are getting a new stadium.
Yeah.
Like you
soon.
do.
Yeah. Every 2 years.
Like you do.
It's called a cash grab.
It's the Miami Heat. I mean, don't they lose a stadium every 2 years?
That's true.
Yeah.
So their previous venue was sponsored by American Airlines. It was the
American Airlines Arena.
yes, the American Airlines Arena.
But AAA, which I'm sure they got sued for.
So
Yeah, true.
new bids are coming in for who's going to be the new sponsor for the next stadium.
Okay.
And one of the top bids has been put in by popular porn site Bang Bros.
That's so fitting. It's Miami.
Oh.
It's awesome.
That's
They have put in a $10 million bid.
Oh, yes. You know what's great about this? The football stadium's by Hard Rock.
They have put in a $10 million bid
Yeah.
to have the naming rights to the new Miami Heat stadium.
Not mad.
This is their official tweet right here. We've officially submitted our $10 million bid for the naming rights to the Miami Heat Arena. We wish to thank American Airlines for their past support of the Miami Heat. We intend to change the name to the Bang Bros Center, a.k.a. the BBC.
All right. Okay, the only way this can get better is if this becomes a bidding war.
yeah.
Because I want the Heat Hub sponsored by Pornhub.
No. Here's the best part. Hashtag Bang Bros cares.
oh.
Well, I mean, I know that they get a whole lot of guff because of what they do. I mean,
Right.
whether it be Bang Bros who produces pornographic material or Pornhub that aggregates porn material. Both of those organizations, though, do give a lot of money to charity.
They do.
Like, Pornhub is all about reforestation.
Yeah.
They plant trees.
Yeah, every what is it? Every 100 videos watched, they plant a tree or something.
Something like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Which literally
There's
means
a
that
forest out there.
they're planting trees,
Which is why I
like
am not-
every couple of seconds.
The thing is, it makes me. All right, I still don't like the idea that the Amazon is on fire.
Right.
But at least I know Pornhub is going to save us. They're going to create new lungs for the earth.
There's a new forest sponsored by Pornhub.
Wow.
Speaking of which, if
It
you
brings
ever-
a whole new meaning to the term rainforest.
I'm just going through the Rolodex of, well, I can't say that. I can't say that.
Right.
I can't say that.
Thick in the bush.
That one is really good. That one's really good. I'll remember that one for later, but I still can't say that one on the air.
But what gets me is that means that the Miami Heat is going to be riding the Bang Bus.
Oh my gosh, we need to stop now or else this is going to get really not safe for work.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Thank you, Andy. That was great.
Anyway, guys, that has been it for this season of Geek Tank Radio. My name's Andy.
I'm Brodee.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Brandon, reminding you to tune in next week when we'll make more fun of Joe because hopefully he'll be back.
Geek Tank Radio. More below and on 1019kissfm.com. Keyword Geek Tank.